Today we're going to discuss what to include in your child's Easter basket. Now I love to just have very little items when I'm teaching a child how to swim. So you don't need much, but these are the essentials that I would include. The first thing is bubbles. You want to teach them prior to the pool, teaching them how to blow bubbles with a wind. This will help them blow air out their mouth and support them with breathing in the water. The next thing I would include would be a packet of balloons. Teaching them how to blow air into the balloon will support them with breathing as well. The next thing I would include are some goggles. And I have a variety of goggles here, and goggles are personal preference. The most important part with goggles is making sure that the eye cup fits their eye. If it does not fit, water's gonna leak in and then they're gonna be upset. The next thing is the straps. I sometimes like having a double strap to be able to go around my ponytail, but some kids like to just have one strap. So that's a personal preference as well. The next thing I would include would be a swim cap. There's two types of swim caps, a silicone swim cap and a latex swim cap. That's also personal preference. One kind of sticks to your head a little bit more, and some people like it better because then it won't fall off as much. But the silicone can fall off a little bit easier, but it doesn't hurt your head as much. So that's also personal preference. Swim caps are great to support your child to keep their hair out of their face. And some boys also like to use swim caps to be able to keep their hair out of their face if their hair is a little bit longer. The next thing I would recommend are some diving toys. So these toys sink to the bottom of the pool, and I love Mr. Squid because when he sinks to the bottom, he stands up a little bit, so it gives him a little bit of extra support. I also love demonstrating with the torpedo because when they're doing streamline, I like to remind children that they're swimming like a rocket and torpedo. And the last one is just a typical ring. It's also great to get some toys that float onto the top of the pool so that way they can reach forward and pull back. And I always remind children to pick one of these objects because if you have too many objects in front of your child, they're just not going to participate in what you need them to do. They're going to be more focused on the objects. The next thing is a swimsuit. Boys sometimes just prefer some bottoms or some tight jammers or a Speedo. Some boys also like to wear a rash guard with their swimsuit just to make them feel a little bit more comfortable. It's also personal preference. For females, I would recommend a one piece. One piece is great because nothing falls off when you're diving into the water or when you're pushing off into streamline. Some girls prefer a two piece, and that's okay, but just remind yourself that things could fall off. The next thing is just a nice comfortable towel. Having a nice comfortable towel is great to support your child when they're done with swimming. I also prefer to make sure that children do not get out of the water to wipe their eyes when water gets in. So in the bathtub, I begin by reminding children instead of using a towel to wipe their eyes in the bathtub, they would just use their fingers to wipe their eyes when they're done. And this will help them for when they transition into the pool. They won't be saying, "Mom, can I please have a towel for my eyes?" It'll just alleviate that problem. So those are some things that I would include in your child's Easter basket. Simple, short, and practical things to help them learn how to swim. I also, when I teach, prefer not to use flotation devices. And the reason for this is because when I'm using a flotation device, the child is relying on that flotation device. But when I remove the flotation device and I just use my hands to hold them, I have the ability when to let go and when to pull back a little bit. So that way I can give them a little bit of uncomfortability, but then I can pull them back and give them a little bit of uncomfortability and then pull them back to be able to support them to where they need to be. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other questions about what to include in your child's Easter basket to help them with swimming and mindfulness.